Hey everybody, I'm Jonathan Folsom. We're back with our second video on cotton defoliation in our video series. And in the first video, we talked about understanding cotton maturity so we would know when to apply a harvest aid. Today, the second video, we're going to talk about the chemistry of harvest aids, how to pick the right adjuvant to go with your specific harvest aid, getting the right coverage, making the most opportunity, getting the best results from your spray, all in an order to help you get better results on your chemical investment. So let's get started. I have to say, first and foremost, this is based on my 20 years of cotton industry experience here on the High Plains. So things may be a little bit different where you're watching from. I'd love to hear your feedback. This is High Plains cotton, High Plains experience, so that's what you're gonna hear. And here on the High Plains, our first harvest aid application typically goes out with a pretty heavy dose of Ethefon. Ethefon, we're gonna get quite a bit of leaf drop, quite a bit of bowl opening, and really do most of the heavy lifting work on that first application. So Ethefon, you know, it's a hormone that gets in that plant and turns into ethylene gas. That ethylene is a ripening agent. You know, it's responsible for forming that abscission layer, helps to drop those leaves and open those bowls. But we really have to do a really good job of getting that Ethefon into the leaf first. So, and that's a challenge because these old cotton leaves late in the season, they're pretty tough. They're pretty leathery. They've had some heat, they've had some drought, and they're doing everything they can to stay alive and protect themselves. And they protect themselves with a thick, waxy cuticle layer, and that protects them from drying out too much, and really it makes them tough and leathery. So when you spray something on there, spray a pesticide, that water droplet's going to stand up on that leaf, beat up, and it's not really going to get into that wax, through that wax into that leaf surface. So we got to combat that wax. Well, thank goodness we've got some really great adjuvants in the technologies that allow us to dissolve that wax. So we utilize a crop oil concentrate or a methylated seed oil, so COCs or MSOs, to dissolve that waxy surface protective layer and allow our pesticide to get into that leaf surface. And that's really important for a systemic product like Ethefon that needs to get in and get through that leaf as quickly as possible, so we can get better results and get in the field harvest as quickly as possible. So again, utilize a crop oil or an MSO. Refer to your specific tank mix, you know, based on whichever herbicide package you may be tank mixing with Ethefon. You know, typically from what I remember, you know, a product like AIM or ETX is going to call for a crop oil concentrate. If you're a little more aggressive using something like Sharpen or Reviton, then it's going to call for a methylated seed oil. And speaking of aggressive, we don't want to be too aggressive on what we're mixing with the Ethefon. My experience has told me that if we get really aggressive and we put something like Paraquat in with our Ethefon, we're going to burn that leaf. We're going to kill that leaf so fast that our Ethefon doesn't really have a chance to work, and so we don't get the benefit out of the Ethefon. So I've done some Ethefon with Paraquat before, and I really didn't like it. It didn't look good in my opinion for what I was going for. So I like being aggressive with the Ethefon. I would caution you, don't be too aggressive with the herbicide. It's a conditioning application to start to condition those leaves to help with defoliation. You don't want to kill it with just the first shot really fast. You want to have time for those leaves to drop and those bowls to open. So that's what we do there with the Ethefon. Let's talk about the second shot, the second application, which typically is a desiccation, the kill shot, so to speak, to kill the cotton, finish it off, and dry it up so we can go in there and harvest it. And so at that point, we're using Paraquat. In my experience, I'm using Paraquat. How do we get Paraquat to work better? Well, Paraquat is not really a systemic product. It's a cell membrane disruptor. It just gets in there and just kind of blows up the cells. And so it dries things out really fast. And in order for Paraquat to work, we've got to get really good coverage, surface coverage. And yeah, we need to get good coverage on the whole plant, but we need good surface coverage. So on anything that's hairy or fuzzy, you know, a non-ionic surfactant is going to be what we want to use. So non-ionic surfactant with Paraquat. Let's talk about another aspect. We talked a little bit about coverage. So it's important for us to get coverage on the leaf, on the stem, but the whole plant as well. How do we get good coverage down in that lower part of that plant canopy? That's really where we're going to struggle with some green bolls and some green leaves as we go in after that first application, deciding what to use next. The better job we can do getting the leaves cleaned up the first time, the better off we'll be for our second follow-up treatment. So we can really focus on canopy penetration. How do we get better lower canopy penetration? Well, we do that not by increasing pressure and making fine droplets, because experience tells us that fog just hangs in the air. It doesn't drive down into that canopy. It just floats across the field, and may float onto somebody else's field, may float onto your wheat patch or your neighbor's wheat patch, and definitely do some damage. But we want to keep those droplets fairly good size. I think a coarse droplet is ideal for canopy penetration, because that droplet maintains its speed and it goes where you aimed it, so to speak. And so we utilize a product called Interlock to help us with canopy penetration. That's really, to me, shown really good effects of lower canopy penetration. So thank goodness we've got some products for cotton defoliation that are premixes of Interlock plus an adjuvant. So for Paraquat, we've got Interlock plus a non-ionic surfactant. We call this PowerLock. And so I really like to use PowerLock. I've seen really good results of PowerLock on Paraquat applications. Maybe on an Ethefon application, we're talking about an MSO. So we've got a really good MSO package that's got Interlock in it, and that's called StrikeLock. So remember, StrikeLock with your Ethefon defoliation, and then PowerLock with your Paraquat application. It's kind of a tongue twister. So anyway, so that's how we get better results from our defoliation. Hope this experience helps you. For WinField United, I'm Jonathan Folsom. Thank you for your business.